Hello, Holy Trinity, and happy Thursday. It's not Holy Thursday, that's next week. Happy Thursday, but today is the Solemnity of the Annunciation, when Jesus took flesh in the womb of the Virgin Mary. I've often wondered why we don't call this the Solemnity of the Incarnation. It seems like Jesus taking flesh is like the big part of the feast, and the Annunciation is just sort of the angel telling Mary that it's happening. But we call it the Solemnity of the Annunciation. I wanted to talk a little bit today about this idea of like celebrating, and what do we do when we celebrate. I made a big deal last week about the importance of eating meat on the Solemnity of St. Joseph because it fell on a Friday during Lent. But the idea of celebrating is an important one, and it's not just on Fridays during Lent when solemnities fall. When do we celebrate? Why do we celebrate? And do we make those decisions ourselves? I studied liturgy, and one of the things that I learned in my studies was the importance of time, and how we mark time, and how we feast, and how we fast when the time comes for fasting. And that a lot of what we do is bigger than ourselves. It's not ourselves making the decisions of when we're going to feast. In our personal lives, we see that often with, birthdays and celebrating birthdays, and a lot of times we'll celebrate our birthday on some other day when it's convenient, which I guess is nice, but it sort of loses that flavor of this is the day that I'm going to mark. When we feast, how many of you eat dessert every night? How many of you eat dessert on occasion? How many of you save desserts for special days? And do you decide when those special days are? When I say live liturgically, I mean if it's a feast day, feast. Not just here at church, but at home. When it's a day of fasting, fast. Not just here at church, but also at home. And a big part of the reason that I say that, and especially on this Feast of the Annunciation, is it comes back to the idea of obedience to the will of God or to the will of the church. Obedience to something above ourselves that we conform ourselves to. Part of what makes this day so special is what Mary did when the angel appeared to her. Mary did almost literally nothing except say yes. And that yes was an act of obedience to a will that would shape the rest of her life. Every day for the rest of her life was shaped by her obedience to God. And she did great things, sure, but she only did those great things in obedience to God. And each and every one of us is called to do little things, big things, but great things, but not on our own. And we don't get to decide what those things are. We're called to be obedient to God. And so this idea of living liturgically, living each day as it's given to us, and letting somebody else decide whether it's a feast day or a fast day, and I don't make that decision myself, is a way of practicing daily obedience, so that when the big things come along, we're used to saying, yes, I don't make my own decisions. I allow somebody else to make decisions for me, and I'm obedient to their will, because that's how I follow God. Crucial part of that is making sure that you're obedient to God and not to something else which is taking you away from God. But that's a video for another day. Have a wonderful Solemnity of the Annunciation. As it is a solemnity, I do encourage you, eat some meat, some stuff that you gave up for Lent, enjoy it. Feast today, and tomorrow we will be fasting again. God bless you all. Have a wonderful Thursday.